Auburn Blitz is now on the air. Your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Well, JJ, the Auburn Blitz, back in the day when this was a big-time recruiting day, this would have been one of the easiest shows that you could ever ask for.
That's right.
But in today's world with the early signing period, it is no longer a national holiday for us college football fans. Pretty much all the hay has been in the barn, especially for big programs like Alabama and Auburn trying to come back up into the fray from a recruiting standpoint. But it is National Signing Day, at least the definition of it today.
The drama's just not there, though.
It's not there. Your thoughts, let's start right there. Did you enjoy it back in the day when it was
I did,
a really big moment?
but I also understand, and I do like the early signing day. I like the earlier signing period.
Yeah.
It doesn't drag it out quite as long, and I think it's a little harder on the coaches. But I think it's a little better for the players. And,
I feel the same. Another thing that I think is maybe better for, I don't want to call them marginal players, and the other programs know who's available.
Right.
And they know that Auburn and Alabama is not going to come in at the last minute and offer a late offer. So, again, congratulations to Corey, by the way. He's a tremendous athlete.
Look, that's going to be interesting with Dilfer going there. I mean, that's a fascinating program to watch over the next 3 or 4 years. I'm anxious to see what Dilfer can do there.
I am too, and I was so happy that UAB got the program back because we had so many kids from here locally to go over and play and have a good experience over there at UAB. But let's start here with Auburn. Auburn today, I think, looking to finish with maybe one. And Jeremiah Cobb, has that announcement been made? Has he already?
I haven't seen anything on it, but nobody's expecting any drama on that, right? I mean, that's pretty much
I haven't heard
that's
any.
pretty much a done deal.
Message board drama that can be created that's not really any drama there. But, with the offer that he had earlier on, maybe 3 or 4 months ago from Georgia, I think a lot of people went, well, hold up now.
Yeah.
And then his decision to commit with the rest of the Montgomery Catholic kids on the same day during the same ceremony. So all hopes and all signs point to Auburn getting his commitment today. And from a running back standpoint, running back room's not terrible for Auburn, but he's one they wanted from day one.
Yeah, and he'll be a good addition. And look, regardless of what goes down today or doesn't go down today, I don't think you can have anything but high hopes and mad respect for what Hugh Freeze has done in the recruiting game over the last 3 or 4 months. It's been way better than I thought it would be. So to get it to the level that he got it in that short amount of time, I think Auburn has gone from a roster, and I'm going to tell you right now, the roster he took over would not be competitive next year. I'm talking 1-7 in conference, kind of non-competitive.
Yeah.
The roster he has built has a chance to be better, maybe get to that 500 level in conference, maybe a game of better. Who knows? But they've got a chance now to compete where the roster he was left did not.
Very sad situation. A lot of question marks around what Harsin was doing for so long with his recruiting plan or process.
Turns out it was nothing.
Turns out that all of the stores from AL.com and all the recruitniks out there that write articles and do this for a living that was questioning his efforts all had a good reason to be doing it, which is a good reason to go back and kind of look at what happened last summer.
Yeah.
Writing was on the wall, wasn't it, JJ?
It was. But, you go back further than that. October of his first season at Auburn. Mm-hmm. I think it was October. In October of that season, if you'll remember, Mark Freeman made a comment to some reporter that he hadn't met him.
Yeah.
Mark Freeman coaches the premier high school football program in the state of Alabama. And he's got a junior class at that time with 6 or 7 high-level D1 prospects on it. You've been on the job for 6 months, and you haven't met him. That was dereliction of duty, right?
That was the first article when I went, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's if you get hired at Auburn or Alabama, the first guy you want to meet is Mark Freeman.
Right there at the top of the list, yes.
You know, he's the first guy.
So it very, very concerning, but, you know, that's all in the past, and Hugh Freeze does seem to have a plan. You know, we had Junior Day this past weekend, which was a huge day. Last year, Auburn only welcomes 20 juniors in for Junior Day. This year, I think there were a lot more than juniors that show up for that. Underclassmen as well, not just the juniors, but freshmen and sophomore. I know Anniston High School had 4 over there just in the one, but 204 was the final number that Auburn welcomed in this past weekend. And to try to get back in the fray, to try to win a couple of battles with Alabama and Georgia, it's going to take something like that.
Yeah, well, and that's, you know, recruiting is not everything. You still got to coach, and you still got to develop, and you still got to hire good assistants. You still got to run the program. But if you're not, in this day and age in the Southeastern Conference, if you're not a relentless recruiter, you almost stand no chance. It's just, it reminds me, that Junior Day story reminds me of a story I heard 15 years ago from Jeremiah Castile when Nick Saban took over at Alabama. And of course, Castile was, I think, the chaplain of the program under Shula, and remained in that role for a couple of years under Saban. Somebody asked Jeremiah Castile what was the biggest difference in the program when Saban took over versus Shula. He said, well, you know, there's a big whiteboard in the head coach's office. He goes, and Coach Shula always kept 25 high school players' names on that whiteboard. And those were players that he was personally involved in their recruitment.
Yep.
He goes, same whiteboard, still in the same office, and the head coach still uses it. But Nick Saban's got 100 names on it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That is a massive difference, because no matter what, you're not going to get all those 25.
That's right.
But you got to have some to fall back on. And, my gosh, looking at that recruiting class, which is a good segue over for you as an Alabama fan, JJ, to kind of give an update. I mean, there's been a lot of great recruiting classes, and many always point back to that 2008 recruiting class with Julio Jones, and the first one for Nick Saban that really said, oh my gosh, here he is, and what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And what's about to happen did happen. But they point to this one and say that this one might be the best of the bunch.
You know, you always got to wait and see. No doubt that 2008 class was a launching pad, and really it was Julio Jones. And there were other great, Mark Barron was in that class. I mean, there were about 7 or 8 high-level future NFL guys, All-Americans in that class. But it was when you knew things were going to be different, Julio Jones was the kind of player that Alabama wasn't getting, right? Mobile area, number 1 player in the country, number 2, 1 or 2 wide receiver in the country, depending on which service you looked at. But I think a lot of people assumed he would go to Oklahoma. When he stayed home and went to Alabama, then you kind of felt things were different. And then he's recruiting other players. And then I think other players took notice and said, okay, well, you know, if Julio's going, you know.
Sounds like a good spot for me.
And you can build momentum that way. Sometimes one high-level, Urban Meyer with Tim Tebow, right?
Yep.
There's no doubt Tim Tebow opened the floodgates at Florida.
He did.
For Urban Meyer, and same thing happened. So sometimes one player can do it. One class can certainly do it. Whether this, you know, talk to me in 2 years on the class. We'll see where they are.
Quick note out there, just getting a text thread through. Auburn picks up first 2025 commitment and 2025 defensive lineman Malik Autry. So that one's one in. So that's a big get already for Auburn, and it feels like there's some more coming. Expectations are today. We'll see where that works out. But, you know, the top high school junior in the state of Alabama in basketball, Phylon, will be committing today from Baker High School. Okay. And I know Auburn and Alabama have offers out there. All signs point to Auburn being the place that he ends up. If that changes, look, we as Auburn fans, we are braced for just about any news that doesn't necessarily go in the favor that we're directed. But here's a question I had, and we'll close out this first segment with this one, see if you know the answer. Who is the last in-state recruit that Auburn and Alabama both offered and Auburn got for basketball?
For basketball.
For basketball. It's a good question. We're on a thread right here, and none of us know the answer.
Ooh, yeah.
I said Doc Robinson maybe, but I don't remember if Doc was an Alabama offer.
Selma High School, right?
Selma High School, Mr. Basketball in the state his senior year. Great player, great point guard. I would guess that Alabama offered him. You know, you may say Chris Porter, but I don't really know the answer to that. But I don't remember any of these over the last 12 to 14 years that Alabama offered and didn't get. Maybe one of you out there that are listening in, you got a guess on that?
I don't
either. Maybe one of you out there would say that, but this would definitely be one of those situations for Auburn basketball and state now. Bruce Pearl's doing a tremendous job of recruiting.
Oh, yeah.
But we haven't really had to go in the state of Alabama and pick up the top ones here. We've really taken advantage of the state of Georgia so far. And
well, look, our generation, we're living in the upside down world right now because Auburn and Alabama are both really, really good at basketball.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, we live in an alternate universe.
And
we were just 10 years ago.
I was going to talk to you about that one last night. Poor old Vandy. Vandy got the bad end of being the next game up after this
Stackhouse
past
said
Saturday.
after the game, played the wrong team at the wrong time.
Dang sure did. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Auburn and Georgia tonight. Huge game in the SEC that Auburn needs to find a way to win here at home. Or the Auburn Blitz right after this.
The interstate is backed up this morning due to an accident.
So you don't like sitting still on the interstate? Get the free Algo traffic app. With Algo, you'll have the information you need to avoid problems on your route to work, to home, to the beach. Traffic backups, wrecks, lane closures, all with current info and live traffic camera feeds. Know before you go with Algo Traffic, ALGO Traffic from the Alabama Department of Transportation. Get it today and arrive on time.
Lake Martin Garage, located on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, has been serving our area since 1993. From routine maintenance such as oil changes, tune-ups, and rotating and balancing your tires, to transmission and engine repair, our trained and certified mechanics will get you back on the road better than before. Need a tow? With a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week towing service, Lake Martin Garage has local and long-range pickup. Trust your vehicle needs to the professionals at Lake Martin Garage. Call 256-825-6139, or better yet, stop in and see them today. Lake Martin Garage.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro in Alexander City is the perfect lender for all your mortgage needs. Property values have increased and interest rates have never been so low. So if you haven't looked at refinancing your house in the last 6 to 12 months, Mortgage Pro is here to help you take advantage of that. Our team is closing loans in 15 days or less, so give us a call at 256-397-0248 and let our team go to work for you today.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
J.A. Smith Construction, with 19 years experience, is your trusted choice for construction. Site clearing and grading for new home construction, basement excavation, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 334-531-0199 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Not sure it was expected news this morning, but, you wake up, I'm driving the kid into school, and turn on the radio, and on Sports Talk, it's that Tom Brady retires, JJ, and 23 seasons and as many accolades as anyone that's ever played the game. I guess he's finally decided it's time.
It's kind of like I fought it for a long time, okay? I was always a John Elway fan. And I know that John Elway took several Broncos teams to the Super Bowl and got run out of the stadium, when he was young. But those teams had no business being in the Super Bowl. John Elway pretty much carried them there.
Sure.
And he did get a couple of rings late in his career, But it's kind of like Michael Jordan. I was always a Magic Johnson guy. But by the time you got to the end of Michael Jordan's career, I had to throw up my hands and go,
he's the best.
He's the best.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same way with Brady. He's the best that's ever played the position. I don't think anybody's ever done it any better.
I don't think anybody's ever been able to sustain the great play as long as he did. 23 seasons, 7 Super Bowl titles, 10 Super Bowl appearances, 17 AFC East titles. That is such a wild. That's like the Braves run.
Yeah.
The Braves don't always get over the hump, but my gosh, what they do in the division has always been exceptional. 3 league MVPs, 15-time Pro Bowler. I can keep going down the list. I mean,
here's the incredible thing. He started 372 games. He won 251 of
them. In the top tier football.
Yeah. You don't win 65% of your games in the NFL.
No, you don't.
I mean, the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL win like 55% of their games, right? But Brady, as a starting quarterback, he has 251 career wins in 372 career starts.
That's a crazy stat. Is he the best of all time in your opinion?
No doubt.
Yeah, do you think that out there? Thoughts? I mean, do you feel like there's anyone that can even be comparable? I can't think of anyone. I've always said Jerry Rice was the best football player that I ever saw. Yeah. Like from a standpoint of watching him out on the field during those 80s runs with the 49ers and just knowing in your mind's eye that no one on the field was as good a football player.
I saw Jerry Rice, the first time I ever saw Jerry Rice, at the Blue-Gray game in Montgomery.
Yes.
When I was a child, I guess I've been maybe 10 or 11, something like that. And in Mississippi Valley State, is that where?
That's where.
And he was a man among boys. I mean,
he was a gazelle.
There was no doubt who the best player on the field was, and it stood out to everybody.
And it moved over to the NFL, and it took him a couple of years. He kind of had the yips, he had the dropsies, and then he got that straightened out. And he was still, when my son asked me who I think the best football player of all time, I say, well, I think Tom Brady's the GOAT, but I'm going to tell you what I've always said up until Tom Brady, and that's that Jerry Rice is the best football player.
Well, it's funny with Brady. I think Brady's the best quarterback of all time. I don't think but he's not even the most talented quarterback. I would still argue John Elway is the most talented quarterback that's ever played the game. I think Joe Montana may be the smartest quarterback that's ever played the game.
Most accurate quarterback,
Yeah, the most live arm of all time. Peyton Manning early in his career. I mean, that arm was Dan Marino.
Yeah.
The way he could sling it around. But when you put everything together, knowledge of the game, football IQ, they call it, enough arm strength.
Yep.
Not much of an athlete, running around out there, but. When you put everything together, nobody played the position any better than Tom Brady did, and he did it for 23 years.
And our good friend John Kennedy will appreciate this, but the other one that I always thought outside of Jerry Rice was Walter Payton.
Yeah.
Because Payton wasn't always on the best of teams. But, and I'll say this to anyone, the durability that Walter Payton had. He didn't miss games. And this guy got hit, and he wasn't a 240-pound Derrick Henry back there.
No, and he didn't run out of bounds either.
No, he was playing physical football, but He was special too, wasn't he?
Oh,
JJ?
yeah. Peyton was one of my early heroes. I mean, there were a lot of them. A lot of the Lawrence Taylor. I mean, Lawrence Taylor's as good a football player as ever played the game. I mean, just ever.
I don't think anybody would argue that. So, Tom Brady retires, comes on Instagram. Didn't want to make a big hoorah of it this time. He said that. He actually said it in his comments. He said, you only get one chance to write the big final statement and get on air and have the big press conference and retire and cry and stuff. He said, this time I'm not even going to have a broadcaster come out.
He said, I did that last year.
He said, I'm just going to wake up one morning, hit play, go live on Instagram, which is what he did, and it's a new day and age, isn't it?
But if you're the Raiders, right, or somebody like that, you're still going to put in a phone call. Hey, Tom.
49ers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I mean, you're bored.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean.
At $345 million contract sitting out there with Fox.
Yeah.
You think he'll be on the Super Bowl broadcast?
He should be.
I wonder if the timing is for that.
I think you put him pre-halftime.
Yeah.
Something like that, post-game.
I think it does open the door where he's not having to answer that question nonstop if he is on air. And so the timing could be a little bit around that. So, again, Tom Brady retiring. We got about a minute or two here left on this segment. Auburn, Georgia tonight. JJ and I were talking during the break. Auburn's got to win this basketball game. JJ said it, and I kind of say the same. This is a better Georgia team. There's a little bit of a positive feel around that program right now, but they're not a great team. And Auburn, I say to end this season with an NCAA tourney run, this is a must-win tonight for Auburn.
Yeah, and I think, look, you're at home against a team you shouldn't have lost to on the road before. So just take care of business, right? Play good defense, play well, and, take care of Georgia. Should be fine. Should be 7-2 after tonight. This Auburn team's been a little bit inconsistent, a little up and down. So we'll see. But they should win this game.
Question for Auburn. Can they defend the perimeter, and can we keep a big-time wing from scoring the ball at will against Auburn? I think in the 5 losses for Auburn, which is 16-5 overall, still 6-2 in the conference, but in the 5 losses, I think the opposing team has had at least one player go for 27-plus.
Wow.
In each of those games. Stevenson did it this past Saturday.
You're thinking Roberts is the threat to do that, huh?
Roberts is the threat. Terry Roberts, 6'3", 180. That 6'3" is the problem.
Yeah.
The problem with Auburn is when you send Jasper and you send Green out there and they end up with a guy that's 5 inches taller, they're shooting over the top of them. And the way Auburn rotates their defense and doesn't really stay in that true man, we'll rotate around based off of picks that are high up top. And so far, we've been susceptible to that guy going for a big game. So can we slow Roberts down tonight in Neville Arena will be one of the big question marks. We'll run down some other stats heading into the game tonight and talk a little bit more about Georgia as we get ready for that one. More of the Auburn Blitz right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Country Clipper zero-turn mowers are designed for comfort, accessibility, and ease of use. Only Country Clipper offers your choice of steering options with industry-exclusive joystick steering or twin-lever steering. Their patented stand-up deck, standard on every model, allows for quick access to the underside of the deck for routine maintenance. With a wide front step and optional handrail, getting on or off your mower has never been easier. Stop by Fun Carts of Opelika today for a test drive. Country Clipper mowers, designed for you. Fun Carts of Opelika, located at 618 Lee Road, 113 in Opelika, Alabama.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
No monthly payments for 90 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC in Opelika. New GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to $9,250 off. New GMC Acadias up to $6,250 off. And new Buick Enclaves up to $6,000 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com.
We have over 200 new and used vehicles on the ground or on the way. Get ready to smile.
Quick update for Auburn in recruiting. We mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I'll mention it again. Malik Autry, 2025 defensive lineman. After this junior day turnout that Auburn had, he's committed. Says 100%, but he's from Opelika High School, 6'6", 265. Big old guy. JJ kind of made joke, but he wasn't being too funny. It's kind of an edge now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when you're 6'6", 265, and you're just thought of as not necessarily a big defensive tackle.
It's not an interior player.
No, it's not.
No.
But you know, we were mentioning a couple of players that, you know, came out of high school. One that I remember coming out of Woodlawn was Carlos Dansby.
Yeah.
Dansby was a super athlete, you know, 6'4" guy, probably weighed 180, 185 pounds in high school. Question was, will he stay on the offensive side of the ball or will he move to defense?
Right.
He puts on 40 pounds and he ends up playing 100 years in the NFL. And, you know, you've made mention of a few, you know, I said Courtney Upshaw. I remember seeing Courtney Upshaw as a senior at Eufaula High School, and Courtney Upshaw may have weighed 200 pounds. He was probably 6'3", and what did he end up? What was his playing weight that
played
fight?
at Alabama in the 250s.
Yeah, 250, 260, just a man. And, you know, you mentioned one from over at Auburn High School.
DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing a radio show in Auburn at a bowling alley of all places, and DeMarcus Ware was there. He was our guest, and so I asked him. I said, "So Auburn just ignored you in high school, didn't they?" He said, "Yeah." He goes, "But he was a 6'2", 180-pound safety coming out of Auburn High School, like a 3-star safety.
Yeah.
And ran a 4.5, so kind of slow for a defensive back in the Southeastern Conference. But then he gets to Troy and he grows another 2 inches. Adds 40, 50 pounds. Well, by the time he left Troy, he was 6'4", 255. But he said, I still ran that 4.5. And that's how you get to be the number 10 pick in the draft.
And he kept that 4.5 for how many years?
Probably going to be an NFL Hall of Famer one day.
I think he is. He did enough damage from the edge that he'll be able to do that.
And great career with the Cowboys, and just one of those kids that had that big frame.
They did. Had the length.
It just had to fill out.
And that's the hard part of recruiting, JJ.
Yeah.
That's where they make the real money out there, is the decisions there. Caller, you on the Auburn Blitz.
Hello, how are you guys doing today?
Good, Jerry. Glad to have you.
Good. Thank you for taking my call, guys. Y'all were talking about different players in the past that y'all think were, your opinion, were real, real good and so forth. And I just got a couple of things. Quarterback that I saw that honestly had the strongest arm for accuracy and everything. I know it's one thing for some of these guys to sit back or out on the practice field and throw it 60 or 70 yards down the field, and that's pretty amazing. But in 1983, when Maryland came to Auburn and played Boomer Esiason as a quarterback, I've never seen somebody that he sat back in the pocket. That's a good Auburn defense he was playing back and playing against. And honestly, some of those crossing patterns that were 30 and 35 yards down the field, I mean, he would just flick his wrist and that ball would just be on the line and hit the receiver right in the numbers. And that's just one that I saw, personally, that I thought was just amazing to watch. And, of course, he went on and had a good career in the pros and so forth. But y'all mentioned Carlos Dansby a few minutes ago, and it's about 3 years ago, ran into Carlos over in Trussville, and I was amazed at just how tall and how big that dude was. I mean, he was a big, big man playing linebacker with good height and good range, and so that's just a couple of things I had to say just to kind of throw into the conversation. But it is fun to talk about, and I appreciate y'all taking my call, guys.
Thank you so much, Jerry. We appreciate it.
Boomer Esiason was a great quarterback. He was another one of those, a left-handed guy.
Yep.
And could fling it. But there were a lot of the Bengals always seemed to have interesting quarterbacks. Boomer Esiason, Kenny Anderson, before him back in the '80s was always fun to watch.
Yep. And they would have a comeuppance. They'd put together a really good team, and then they'd go back into the cellar dwellers that they were.
How about Bernie Kosar? Nobody ever talks about Bernie Kosar anymore, but
Bernie was. I wish I had an example of who he reminds me of today, but I don't know that there's anybody less fleet of foot than Bernie Kosar.
Well, and I heard a receiver one time. I forget which one it was that played with him. That said the thing about Bernie was it didn't have the strongest arm ever, but he can make the throws. But the ball was so catchable.
Yeah.
He said with Kosar, like you could catch the ball with one hand and not spill your drink in the other. Yep. It was just that catchable.
Well, and he always won football games. He always put up big numbers, and so there's something to be said for that. But, Carlos Dansby getting a couple of mentions there. And I've made mention when we talk about linebacking play at Auburn right now, it may be hard to find those guys. But those long, lengthy, rangy linebackers that Auburn had a good stretch of there in the 90s and early part of the 2000s before we kind of went to the little mini mics. Not to say that there's anything wrong with those guys, but something to be said about that length is
the outside linebacker positions changed so much too, because now your outside linebacker is really an edge rusher.
Yep.
And they're playing a lot of times with a hand in the dirt. They're not an outside guy that's dropping into coverage and that sort of thing. They're more of the edge rusher, a little more one-dimensional.
They are. So, you can have that basketball skill that Carlos Dansby had, and if you can move that over to the football field and have a little physicality like Dansby had, those are the ones that you're looking for. And you said it. There's a couple of players that we mentioned there, and we'll see. But that big junior day for Auburn, again, looks like it's already paying off with an early commit. A couple of updates on some mentions that we had there in the first hour or in the first segment of the program. Phylon will be announcing on Friday. So LeBaron Phylon, who's the top scorer in the country, I think he averages 43 points per game. I watched him play Benjamin Russell, JJ. I don't know if you saw it, but we lost 74-71. This is in a tournament over at Mountain Brook, and he scored 57. And we led pretty much the entire game, and I think he scored the last 33. of the ball game. And we threw every athlete that we had at him, and there was nobody going to slow. So Scott Hardy said he's a walking bucket. There ain't no way to slow it down. So he'll be announcing on Friday. It is kind of between Alabama and Auburn and a lot of others out there. He's a junior and, again, one of the top players in the state. Pettiford is today. And four-star defensive back, 24 class from Anniston, Jaden Lewis will commit today. Both, all signs are pointing to Auburn on all three of those. We'll see if that's how things work out. Go ahead and take another break here on the Auburn Blitz.
J.A. Smith Construction, with 19 years experience, is your trusted choice for construction. Site clearing and grading for new home construction, basement excavation, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 334-531-0199 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area.
L&G Ad Agency is the go-to vendor for all your digital and print marketing needs. We have in-house production for all projects, including graphic design, web design, social media marketing, videography, and print marketing. Our video production is up to industry standard with modern 4K cameras and drone capabilities. We pride ourselves in client-committed relationships, and every project is personalized to your needs. Visit lmgadagency.com for a free quote today. Let us tell your story.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama. Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro in Alexander City is the perfect lender for all your mortgage needs. Property values have increased and interest rates have never been so low. So if you haven't looked at refinancing your house in the last 6 to 12 months, Mortgage Pro is here to help you take advantage of that. Our team is closing loans in 15 days or less, so give us a call at 256-397-0248 and let our team go to work for you today.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
WAXC TV3's Basketball Game of the Week is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet Buick GMC on the Columbus Parkway in Opelika. Get ready to smile. Catch game replays on WAXC TV3 and on our Roku app. Games replay Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. and also Saturday and Sunday at 6:30. Catch the replays of these games airing now from Glenn Smith Chevrolet Buick GMC in Opelika and WAXC TV3.
It's recruiting day and also Tom Brady retirement day, and so that has led us to some conversations that are slightly different on this Auburn Blitz program, but one that was brought up to you a couple of weeks back, and we'll bring it up right here, just kind of stick with the conversation that we're having. Best high school players, not just overall recruits that you've seen, but best high school players that you've broadcasted and been around here in the state of Alabama. Who would you throw up there?
Yeah, I got to see Julio Jones at Foley. And I still don't know that I've seen a better high school athlete than that.
Yeah.
And I've called some good ones. I called a playoff game with Smith Station and Blunt back in I guess it's been the late '90s. Mm-hmm. And Blunt had a defensive lineman and a wide receiver, wound up going to Auburn.
Yep.
What was it, McNeil?
DeMarco McNeil was the defensive lineman. I think he was Mr. Football actually that year.
Was a big guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. But anyway, but I just don't know that I've ever seen a high school athlete.
Anthony Mix, I think, was the receiver out of Blunt, but they had a number of them out of Blunt.
Well, Blunt could do that to you, right?
Yeah.
Sean Bonds was the head coach at Smith Station at the time.
Okay.
I did an interview with him in pregame, and he had been the defensive coordinator, I think, at Williamson before he came to Smith Station.
Got it. So he knew all about what.
So he knew all about Blunt. He said, "Well, he goes, yeah, this is a really good team." He goes, "But think about this: when I was defensive coordinator down there, we had a playoff game against Blunt." He goes, "And I had a game against Blunt. And I had to prepare for a sophomore quarterback named Damian Craig, and a senior running back named Sherman Williams." He goes, "How am I stopping that?"
You weren't, and I don't think many did during that stretch. But I have to imagine, watching the way that Damian Craig played in college, that his skill set on the high school football field had to be perfect.
Yep.
Just the ability to snap it back there and things break down, and all of a sudden you've made a play. And then he had a huge arm to go along with it. If you're throwing to great athletes that were there, so I'm guessing Damian Craig. He's about my age, so we were in 6A and they were in 5, so we really never had the opportunity to play them back then. And then right after we got out of high school, we ended up playing Blunt in about a 3 or 4 game stretch, and it was during that stretch that you had there. And so Blunt was as good as anybody in the state back then.
Yeah.
And athlete-wise, you've got to shore up the Mobile region, and I know that that's where a lot of the interest goes, and it feels like right now that that's where a lot of the effort's going for Auburn to try to get back down in that area, JJ, that has been Alabama country for a while.
That Mobile area on into the Florida Panhandle obviously is a very important recruiting territory for everybody down here, but Auburn especially, that Florida Panhandle's always been important to Auburn. Georgia and the Mobile area is going to be important to anybody, so.
Going through the matchup tonight, Auburn taking on Georgia. This one is at 6 o'clock on SEC Network. Neither team shoot the ball extremely well, and probably, one of the things from Auburn's standpoint, and it's we're probably 3 or 4 percentage points lower from the three-point arc than we would like to be.
Is there a way to improve that? Is it shot selection, or is it just lack of shooters, Randy? I mean, that's are they getting good shots and just not able to hit them?
I think a lot of the threes that I see Auburn shootings not in the flow of the offense. Mm-hmm. There are some that you're getting in transition, and I think Auburn hits their fair share of those. The problem I see is that Auburn, when the first 15 seconds of the shot clock, when that initial movement, whatever play is called, doesn't work, it's Wendell Green and it's Alan Flanagan up at the top of the key, 7-8 feet behind the arc, and they're trying to create off the dribble, and they're trying to one-man basketball, and at times Wendell Green will hit it, but more times than not, that's not a good shot for Wendell, and I think that's where a lot of the percentage is down, to me, just watching all
and that's the thing, because there's a couple of ways to look at it, right? There are good three-point shots, and then there are bad three-point shots, and they can be a good shot even if you miss it. It can be a bad shot even if you make it. But like you said, when it's happening in the flow of the offense, they're usually good shots.
Shooting percentage for Georgia overall, though. So they are 33.6% from the three to 29.5% for Auburn. Free throw percentage also in Georgia's favor by 4 percentage points, right at 74% from the free throw line for Georgia, 69% for Auburn. Points, though, Auburn averaging 72 points per game to only 70 there for Georgia. I think some of the questions tonight is, can Janai Broome get going down in the post? That's going to be a big point of emphasis for Auburn. And these games that he's been able to do what Oklahoma did to Alabama on Saturday, which is really just play bully ball. I mean, able to get the ball down in the post and just out-physical, position themselves down in the block. And Janai Broome has that he brings to the game for Auburn. Mm-hmm. And so we'll see tonight if that would work out for him. Turnovers have not been a major issue for Auburn this year. You look at turnovers, we're averaging 13. Georgia's averaging 14. I've been paying attention to that. Auburn in their better games has 8 or 9 turnovers. In their worst moments, they've got 15 or 16 turnovers. So it's never really one where you're looking down and Auburn's got 20-plus turnovers in the game. That hasn't been the case. But at times, the transition buckets for Auburn seems tough to get. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've watched much of that. And maybe that is the length that we have out on the guard position. Outside of Alan Flanagan, there's not really a high-riser at the guard position for Auburn. Right. So we'll see if we can get some of those easier buckets for Auburn tonight. So, again, that one's at 6 o'clock. It's in Neville Arena. Auburn's won, 28 out of the last 29 there at Neville Arena. So things have been going really well for us there, and we need to pick up a win against a winnable team in Georgia. SEC games this week, Mississippi State over South Carolina, 66-51 is Texas A&M. Losing to Arkansas 81-70. That's a big game. That loss. That's a big win. Is Arkansas doing what they do every year, getting it going late in the season?
Maybe they've got the ability to do it.
They do it. I think every year they lose 3 or 4 of the first 5 or 6, and then they find a way to get it back going. And by the time tournament time comes around, they're the best team in the SEC the last 3 or 4 years. Alabama, what a run against Vandy last night, 101-44. Your thoughts, JJ?
Pretty amazing to watch. It was obviously Stackhouse said it after the game, played the wrong team on the wrong day. They were mad after that Oklahoma game.
They were.
And it showed on the defensive side. The 101 points wasn't an offensive thing. On the defensive side, they were just flat nasty. I think with 3 or 4 minutes left in the first half, I think Vanderbilt had 12 points.
Yeah. Alabama, when they're at their best this year, going to be a tough team to beat. There's no questioning that.
And everybody forgot about Kentucky. They lost 2 or 3 games. Cal's lost it. Kentucky's out. Another win last night for Kentucky.
75-66 over Ole Miss. We'll come back.
Sheepway keeps dominating.
Yes, he does. We got one more segment here on the Auburn Blitz.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Something big is coming. Something so big, it'll change the world of chicken sandwiches. Zaxby's new signature sandwich with Zax sauce or new spicy Zax sauce. Because the chicken sandwich war ain't over yet. The new signature sandwich. All the other little sandwiches can run along. We'll take it from here.
OGS tournaments. Russell Marine and State Farm agent Aaron Warren present Crank for Bank 2023, April 1st through July 4th. Win over $1.5 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 50 tag crappie are waiting on you. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or shores of Lake Martin. Get registered now online at crankforbank.com for only $110 for 13 weeks of fishing. It's Crank for Bank 2023.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Attention! Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer after using Zantac or other heartburn medications for several months? You may be entitled to compensation. Call Zantac Justice now for a free legal case review. The FDA has warned that Zantac and other medications containing heartburn drug ranitidine may be contaminated with cancer-causing agent NDMA. Consult your physician prior to discontinuing any use of medication.
Please call 800-379-5986.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Brubaker Motors in Montgomery is the largest and fastest growing used car dealership in the River region. You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker. It's better at Brubaker.com.
Brubaker, Brubaker, Brubaker.
You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker.
BREWBAKER. BREWBAKER.com.
It's better at Brubaker.com.
Let's head back to the phone lines on this final segment of the program. Caller, you on the Auburn Blitz.
Hey, Randy, JJ, how are y'all today?
We're good, Terry. Glad to have you.
Thank y'all for having me. You're spot on about Auburn. Look, I think Wendell Green is what's the old saying? There's no I in team, but there is a me. I think Wendell Green is the ultimate me guy. I think he's the guy playing one-on-one with his buddy in the driveway somewhere, and that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make the top 10 on SportsCenter. And I'm afraid he's going to get us into a bad situation. I don't think Auburn can win. I also think they're tremendously hurt by their lack of size at guard. What is Wendell Green, Randy, JJ, about 5'9", 5'10"?
He's about 5'10", yeah, and, Auburn
You kind of brought that up earlier, that there's a lack of size at the guard positions.
Well, especially...
But honestly, as an Auburn fan, I'm tired of seeing somebody have the game of their lives against Auburn.
And I think that is a length issue on the defensive side, and when you've got Green and Jasper in there at the same time, it's okay to have one. But if you've got them both in there at the same time, it's not that they don't give you effort defensively. They just don't have the length.
You get a mismatch somewhere.
You do.
Well, I don't have a problem with Wendell Green shooting him. I had a problem with his shot selection. Because he's even up 26-foot shots he is not going to make.
Just the flow of the offense at times in the half-court set is something to be desired. After that initial 15 to 20 seconds, it's almost like everybody's looking at him to make something happen. Right. I feel for him at times,
standing around.
Yeah, I feel for him. I see him up top, and there's no real movement, and he's trying to do the best he can to create a decent shot. But
and that's a frustrating thing too when you're watching a game and you're rooting for a team, and nobody's moving. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, I guess the point guard's going to have to drive the lane or heave one up. So.
Yep.
Quite honestly, I don't know if you guys agree with this, and I'll close with this. I think the backup guy is more of a point guard than Wendell Green could ever hope to be, as far as the way the position is defined.
I don't think Wendell Green is a point guard in the truest sense of the word, the distributor type, right?
Maybe about today.
That's not really his game. He is, like you said, Terry, he is more of a one-on-one player than you traditionally would have a point guard be, but that's his position. He's a valuable player. Yeah. But I understand what you're saying, too.
Well, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double, but he was sitting home and the playoffs started,
That's right. Yep.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, Terry. We appreciate it. And, you know, Trey Donaldson, I think they want more minutes, and they're starting to give him more minutes. And you got to know Bruce Pearl expected to get a lot out of Chance Westry, who was one of the top recruits Auburn ever got. You know, he's really a 2, but he's 6'6", so he gives you that length. Thought was that he would be able to come in and really light it up from the perimeter, which Auburn needs, that outside shot that they don't have. But, you know, that injury that he sustained and trying to come back from it, JJ, you know, basketball is a weird sport. It's almost like it takes certain injuries, it takes a couple of years to come back from in basketball, even more than football. It's almost like you got to be able to trust it in that sport.
Well, I mean, you can look right across the state in Tuscaloosa at, what's his name, the point guard last year, that tore up his knee at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he's still not the same. You know, now he's hitting some shots. He's coming off the bench, and he'll spot up and hit a 3 here and there, and he's still quick, but he's not that quick like he was. You know, there were times where, you know, he was getting by somebody every time.
But Sears is pretty good, isn't he?
Sears will take your job if you let him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good get for Alabama.
But yeah, it's injuries, especially lower body injuries in basketball, man, just tough.
On this day, 2004, Super Bowl, I guess 37 there, Patriots defeating the Panthers. Remember it very well. Tom Brady, who retires today, so is the MVP of that ball game. Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction may be talked about more than the game.
I really thought Justin Timberlake malfunctioned her wardrobe. They act like the wardrobe itself malfunctioned. But I think Timberlake actually malfunctioned it.
And it was hard to watch it and not think that it wasn't planned.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's what you saw, but that's what I saw, and I'm sticking to it. 2009 Super Bowl, Steelers defeat the Cardinals. Santonio Holmes, what a catch that he makes to win this thing, 27-23. That was a great game all the way around, especially from the receiver standpoint.
Yeah, and Santonio Holmes was so much fun to watch there for a period of about 3 or 4 years. He was what Tyreek Hill is now.
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith becoming that kind of
Devontae Smith and the way he's able, that catch he had, I know he dropped it, but it's still, to even make you think that he caught that tells you what kind of an acrobat that he was in the air. And, just the ability.
That big around.
And that's what Santonio Holmes looked like, and had the ability to make great plays and did. 2015 Super Bowl, Patriots defeating the Seahawks 28-24.
Was that the one where Pete Carroll threw it on the goal line?
It was, yes.
And it got intercepted in the end zone. He didn't hand the ball to Marshawn.
Tom Brady. 28-24, Tom Brady the MVP again.
And the Seahawks, you should have another Super Bowl because Marshawn Lynch should have got that ball.
Yes, he sure should have. Happy birthday today, Conn Smythe, the Conn Smythe Award in NHL. What is that for? Is that the MVP?
The next hockey game I watch will be my first.
That'll be his first. John Ford. Now, the next John Ford movie won't be your first.
No. If Stagecoach, I've seen that.
You've seen that one. Clark Gable.
Well.
Gone with the Wind. You love it.
How can you not love Gone with the Wind?
I asked my wife that. She's one of these, JJ, that if it's not like made within the last year, then it's no good. Like it's too far back for her to be able to.
Now, when you look, Gone with the Wind is what, 6 hours long or something?
I mean, you got to commit.
It's a commitment to watch Gone.
But I have committed very many times in this life to that one, and Clark Gable's a good reason for that. Garrett Morris,
one of the great Saturday Night Live guys, the early Saturday Night Live guys, and he was a good one.
In 1937, Sherman Hensley. Oh my!
George
Has there ever been a better character actor than him? And was he not perfect for the part?
Before the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
The character of George Jefferson actually debuted on All in the Family.
Did not know
He was a neighbor of Archie Bunker.
Wow.
If you ever get a chance to watch him and Carol O'Connor go at each other as George Jefferson and Archie Bunker, man,
I may need to pull that.
As good television as it gets, right?
Rick James, Wade Wilson, Brandon Lee, Sherilyn Flynn, Kent Merker. Remember Kent Merker, left-handed pitcher for the Braves. Lisa Marie Presley, wow, passing away recently. Jason Isbell, one of our top artists here in the state of Alabama, and Ronda Rousey. Big-time fighter, and she's still in all kinds of commercials right now, JJ. So, for JJ, I'm Randy Lee saying thanks for tuning in to the Auburn Blitz today.